Hey all, Michelle Raza here with Finding Yourself SATX Life Coaching, helping you find your best self since 2017. Today we're going to talk about Shawn Achor's The Happy Secret to Better Work. This is a TED Talk. I will link the YouTube video on mine so that you can see it both in the detail section and in the comment section. It's a really, really cool TED Talk, which I will say it did have an impact on my life. It really did help me. I think I moved past this to do more things, but I just want to explore kind of the key points on what he says in his video. I think they'll be very helpful for all of us. Before I get started, let me announce the raffle winner from last video. Diane Clayton, if you're watching, please contact me. You can find my contact information at my website, www.findingyourselfsatx.com. And also for all of you watching, don't forget to enter this week's raffle. We'll be giving away our free digital coaching package. We do have 3 copies of Melody Beattie's Codependent No More left. If you want one of those, just contact me. Those are first come, first serve. And yeah, look forward to talking through this with you guys. So please click the link to that video, watch it. It's definitely worth your while to watch. It's funny. He has a great comedic timing, and he also just delivers a really important message. So give me 1 second and then we'll get started. Okay, so Shawn comes out on stage, much applause. He talks about how when they were kids, when he and his sister were kids, he accidentally shoved her off the bunk bed and had just broken her arm the week before. He was trying not to get in trouble. And so she falls, and she falls on all fours, and she's about to let out a scream. And he's like, wait. Humans don't fall that way. You must be a unicorn. And then in her little brain, she doesn't know whether to be happy because she's not a human, she's a unicorn, or to scream like she was about to and get him in trouble. She chooses to be happy, jumps up on the bed, and they continue playing. And he talks about how basically he had uncovered a secret of, choosing to see the positive when there's always, right, both negative and positive in your life. And so that sounds like, it sounds kind of a little frou-frou, a little fluff, right? But he goes on to back it up with a bunch of statistics. So he says, this is his line of work. Studying happiness and productivity is his line of work. And he says, 90% of your long-term happiness is predicted not by the external world, but by the way your brain processes the world. So 90% of how happy you are is not anything that happens to you, or how sad you are is not anything that happens to you, but how you process the world internally. And he talks about his career and becoming a scientist at Harvard. And so he says, you walk into the freshman hall of Harvard and it looks like Hogwarts. And he actually shows you side-by-side pictures, right? Hogwarts and Harvard. And he says everybody should just be so happy to be there, right? They just got admitted into Harvard. They should be ecstatic that they're amongst all these smart people. And in his case, he got a scholarship, so grateful for the scholarship. But apparently after about 2 weeks, whatever, if you won the lottery, if you got admitted to Harvard, if you were drafted into the NFL, if you booked a flight to go somewhere exotic to travel, that happiness ends up wearing off and you return to your baseline happiness level. The same occurs if you have something very negative happen. Whatever your baseline is, after a period of mourning, you'll return to your baseline. He also talks about how 75% of job success is predicted by your optimism levels, your social support, and your ability to see stress as a challenge instead of a threat. And so this is as opposed to saying by your IQ level. And I know that I've talked to you all before about EQ versus IQ and how your measure of success is actually predicted more by your emotional intelligence quotient, or your EQ, than your intelligence level per se, or your IQ. Some people that I know that are incredibly intelligent are also very difficult to deal with. They're very difficult people, and they're not necessarily the happiest of people, but they are very smart. So 75% of your job success is predicted by your optimism levels, your social support, which we've talked about a lot, and your ability to see stress as a challenge instead of a threat. And so he talks about the formula for happiness, the formula that most of us have for happiness that we think about. So I'm going to work really hard. And then by working really hard, I'm going to be successful. And then once I'm successful, I'm going to be happy. A lot of us think this way, right? I'm just going to lose those 5 additional pounds. I'm going to get that promotion at work. I'm going to jog that extra mile. Or if you're a student, right, I need to get all straight A's and then I can be happy. But what he talks about is the bar or the measure for happiness, it always moves. So whenever you define your happiness as reaching that next thing, you may be happy for a moment, but very quickly you will set the bar higher. And so then what he says is we've pushed happiness over the cognitive horizon as a society. You're always chasing it and you're never quite there. And he also says we need to reverse the formula for happiness and success. So again, more statistics, maybe a little boring, but to me this stuff is fascinating. So I will trudge through it with you all. Your brain at positive, so in a positive frame of mind as opposed to negative or neutral, is 31% more productive than otherwise. If you start by being happy, you're 31% more productive than if you're negative or even neutral. People who sell are 37% better at sales when they're happy. And doctors are 19% more accurate and faster at coming up with correct diagnoses when they're happy. So instead of being, you work harder so then you can be more successful, so then you can be more happy, what Sean posits is to be happy, which will then allow you to work harder and be more successful. He talks about the reward chemicals released in your brain when you have a positive outlook. They make you happy, but they also turn on all the learning centers in your brain. So you're more receptive to learning things when you have a more positive outlook. In the words of Dr. Brewer, he would say, look at the world through a lens of curiosity. And when you choose curiosity instead of anger or another negative place, then it allows you to be more open and learn more. And that's kind of the same thing that Sean Achor is saying here. We do want to be careful though. So lots of what we've talked about is, especially if you're an internalizer in the language of Dr. Gibson, or a codependent, right? As Melody Beatty would say, you don't want to push away your negative emotions, but what we're trying to talk about is the baseline of happiness. So looking at the happy secret to better work, you're trying to increase your baseline happiness, but not necessarily push away a negative emotion if it happens in the moment. We've always talked about how you need to feel your feelings. All your emotions are valid, even your negative emotions, even if not all the actions that you would like to do are valid. So we don't want to push away our negative emotions or become those toxic positivity people. Just remember, the truly only way out of your negative feelings is to allow them to happen, to feel them. You don't necessarily need to ruminate, but you do need to feel them. So you can journal, you can meditate, you can even rage, you can scream, you can hit a punching bag. Don't hit a person, but you can hit a punching bag, right? You need to let out your negative emotions in order to let them go. But we're just talking about that baseline level of happiness, and that's what we want to increase. And so what Sean Achor says, in order to increase your happiness, and he goes around helping companies do this for a living. That's his job, and these companies realize that by having their workers be happier, they have less turnover, more productivity, so it makes more business sense. If you're employed by a company and you start seeing a lot of this stuff, I know the company that I'm employed with has Thrive Global, and all these things. They're not necessarily just being nice to you. It also makes good business sense. You retain your people better, you get better work out of them. And so it's just a smart strategy overall. But one of the main things he talks about is maintaining a gratitude journal or a gratitude list. Actually both. So a gratitude journal, and so, sorry, let me back up because I chose this topic. I've been talking about Melody Beatty's Codependent No More. Super excited to continue working on that book. sharing it with you. Actually, I'm reading it. It's awesome. The 2022 edition is so cool. And she really opens up and she's very vulnerable about her own experience. In the previous edition of the book, she's talking about how she became a leader of these codependents, the focus group, and she had no idea what to do. But then in this edition, in the newest edition, she's talking about more personally her journey, how she got there, her first marriage, her second marriage, where she was married to a completely judgy asshole alcoholic who pretended that he wasn't and even hid a bottle of vodka in the toilet and stupid stuff like that. That your heart just kind of goes out to her more because she's being more vulnerable and sharing her story. But I wanted to kind of step away from that just for today because it's Thanksgiving. At least here where I am in San Antonio, Texas, we enjoyed Thanksgiving yesterday and had a very awkward exercise with my family where I prodded us all to talk about what we were grateful for, and we're not very touchy-feely or open often, so it was a little awkward but also very good. And so I wanted to really take this time to talk about gratitude, and not in that dorky way that everybody does. Every company will send you this email saying, hey, I'm grateful for you. And it's like, I'm grateful for you guys. I really am. And I'm grateful for your company. I'm grateful for your messages and all the comments on the videos. But also just talking about if you're somebody that's kind of opposed to the fluff, why is this stuff important? Why is it important to focus on, to have a more positive outlook, to try and increase your baseline positivity? It's not just fluff. It really does help you in your life to become more successful. So if you train your brain to focus on the positive, and that's what Sean Achor says. He says, keeping a gratitude list over a period of 21 days. And so a gratitude list is where you take on a list, can be on paper, can be on your phone, in your computer. Try to add 3 unique things to it every day. Now, you can periodically add the same things, like I love my coffee. Y'all know I love my chai, I love my coffee. So oftentimes I'm just grateful for this nice warm cup of coffee when I wake up every day. And maybe that's on my list every day, but then I will add a 4th thing so that I have 4 things on my gratitude list instead of 3. Shelter, right? If you have a roof over your head, you're better off than a lot of the world. It sounds really stupid, but sometimes we forget what all we have to be grateful about, and just the really, really simple things are important. Sometimes you just need to jot that down on paper. Also being grateful, trying to put in unique things every day. And now if you keep up with it after 21 days, your brain kind of rewires to scan for the positive as opposed to the negative. He also has people journal about a positive experience every day. So that's taking one item that's on your gratitude list, but then kind of expanding on that or writing more about that in the day. Exercising, it's scientifically proven, right? It releases dopamine in your brain to exercise, and the feel-good hormone, like the jogger's high, those are all real things. So exercise is super important. It's not just good for your health, right? It's good for your heart. It's good for your brain. It can prevent Alzheimer's. But in this case, it's good for your happiness too. He recommends meditation and then random acts of kindness. So he will also get people to send one positive email to someone else in the company, whatever company he's trying to help out in that consultancy. So, and then on meditation, I did want to share, and I don't know if you guys are all into YouTube, which obviously you are, you wouldn't be watching me. You might have already come across Wim Hof, the Iceman. He's amazing. He has guided breathing tutorials. So meditation is very hard, right? We've talked about it. Mindfulness and meditation. Dr. Brewer recommends it. Dr. Gibson recommends it. Every single person who's helping you try to get to a more healthy place in your life is going to recommend mindfulness and meditation, possibly breathing exercises. I will say, so meditation is very difficult because you get into it, and then if you get there successfully, if you're able to clear your mind, then you're all of a sudden going to get excited about the fact that you're able to clear your mind, and you're going to focus on that, thus ruining your meditation. So it really does take a lot of practice and discipline to be able to meditate. With Dr. Brewer, and he's the one who has the Unwinding Anxiety app. Again, I'm not compensated for it. It's just a good app. he tells you to focus on the sounds in the room. So as you're closing your eyes and trying to relax, he tells you to focus on the sounds in the room and to do body scans and kind of focus internally. And that helps you with meditation. But if meditation is hard for you, you can also try breathing exercises. And that I would highly recommend looking up Wim Hof. His breathing tutorials, he starts out slow, and then you can go into just a more normalized breathing routine. It is very, very weird, right? But it's controlled hyperventilation followed by long, long breaths. So holding your breath for about 1.5 minutes each time, exhaling completely, then holding for that long, then inhaling. There's people who are just super, super, super into it. They get into the cold bath, so doing the breathing and then jumping in the cold water. I'm not as far into that, but I do think that if you're struggling with meditation, giving the breathing exercises a shot is it kind of shoots you more quickly into that meditative state. And then after you finish the Wim Hof, then you can then subsequently do a meditation, and it'll ease you kind of into it because you've really, really relaxed your system by doing that exercise. Anyway, that is my Thanksgiving clip for you all. Really thankful that you're here with me and spending time with me. Please do check out our website. We're at www.findingyourselfsatx.com. There, if you'd like to donate to the book club, you can. That's just $1. If you would like to donate to our 501c3 sister organization, you can do that too, focusing on fighting PTSD. And yeah, start your gratitude journal. Write to me, email me, let me know how it's going. 3 unique things every day. This guy wouldn't have all the books that he has and the success that he has if there wasn't some logic behind the message he's trying to give. Just train your brain. Look for 3 positive things every day. Write about them. And you'll see after 3 weeks, you've increased your baseline happiness. And I really hope that you can get there. So contact me if you have any questions, if you need any help. If you'd like to book a session, I'm here. Y'all take care. Have a happy Thanksgiving, or I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving and you're recovering well. I know I haven't eaten much today, just given how much I ate yesterday. Y'all take care. And in the next video, we will pick up on Melody Beattie's Codependent No More. So have a great evening. Bye-bye.